All righty, so let's get started. So again, this is Voices of Strength and Hope. That is the community that I am building. Our subject will be food and nutrition for autoimmune health. The whole purpose of this is because we're going to be exploring different experiences and the resilience of those who are living with autoimmune disease and chronic pain. And do know that just because I am calling out autoimmune and chronic pain, this does apply to everyone. If you just want to get general nutrition information or just generalized information that you could take back just to have additional nuggets of information. So do know that I do not want to single anyone out. This is an inclusive platform. So again, everybody's welcome. Tell a friend to tell a friend. The only way I can build a community is if the community builds with me. And my goal is to provide a safe space for people who are faced with autoimmune condition and diseases and people who live with chronic pain. All right. So I want to go over a quick disclaimer. By attending today's event, you acknowledge that this is just basic wellness insights are based on holistic practices and are for informational purposes only. I am not wanting to take the place of your physician or your provider who is providing you with um, information that they're licensed to do. My goal here is to continue to provide education and to help you get to your goals that your doctor has set for you. So again, I do support holistic practices for well-being to be in alignment with your personal health goals. And I hope that you guys enjoy. All righty. So what I'm sharing here with you guys today, I wanted to kind of take a moment to share my journey and to help you guys understand why this community is so important to me. Some of you guys know me from years ago, and some of you guys do not. What I've done here is pull together some pictures of me during a time where I was struggling. A lot of people didn't know I had illnesses going on. The first picture is me, systemic lupus. I'm an autoimmune warrior. I could barely walk. I was just beginning to be put on steroids, and I had a really poor diet. And for those who know me, I love my 6-inch heels. And for me to have to put those up because I had so much weight, I had joint pain, fatigue, loss of balance, and different things that was going on. That was very heartbreaking for me, someone who loves fashion. But I wanted to share that with you, just these stages that I went through to get to where I am now. The second picture, I have very short hair. Most people feel that you just go and you cut your hair because you want a new trendy hairstyle. I had begun to lose my hair and I was losing it in clumps. So I went to my hair person. I said, hey, what can we do with this? So I don't have to wear weave or braids. She said, you know what? We'll cut it off and I'm going to pull out the Marcel irons. She cut my hair down as short as you see it now, and she put it in a wrap. And as it began to grow, she curled it to make me feel very feminine because I was not used to it at that point, having hair so short. I had weight gain. I had begun to have seizures. I had to come off from work for a little while, and I was back on steroids again. I was on a 14-day regimen, 7 on, 7 off. And that's the way we managed the illness at that time with steroids, methotrexate, gabapentin. There were so many different medicines that I was having to take so that we could try to figure out what was going on with my autoimmune conditions that was fighting against me every day for me just to have another moment of life. And then the third picture is me now. So I'm a Zumba instructor. I have better nutrition. I'm physically active. My weight is maintained with medical management and coaching, and I'm on a vitamin regimen. And basically, I shared this journey with you to guys let you know that I understand what it's like to be an autoimmune patient or a carrier or even a caregiver because someone had to care for me to understand the challenges of, are they diagnosing me correctly? Did I get it right? Am I eating the right foods? Because there's so many misconceptions about what you should and should not eat when you have an autoimmune condition. And what works for me may not work for you. So that's where you have that trial and error, and you're working very closely with your doctor to understand how can I feel better. So that's a snippet of my journey that I wanted to kind of share with you guys to let you know where the voices of strength and hope comes from. All right. All right. So I've got a wonderful slide here, Guide to Nutritional Supplements. This is a book, a medical doctor. You guys can go look it up. Um, but poll in the chat, I want you guys to drop in there true or false. Do supplements replace nutrition? Do you think that you could say yes, or you could say no, or you could say true or false? But in the chat, just drop in there. I can't really see it because I'm screen sharing here, but drop it in there whether you feel that supplements can replace nutrition. Okay, here's the answer. While certain supplements can help, example, vitamin D, omega-3, magnesium, there's a slew of other things that can help. They should complement, not replace, a well-balanced diet, and always, always consult a professional before taking supplements. Now, that is what I wanted to share. Now, as I move forward, I'm going to bring on the registered dietitian nutritionist. Starr is going to be sharing some information with us today. She is one of my fellow Zumba Zen sisters. I met her last year in Florida and we kicked it off. She talked to me about this wonderful mixed fit thing. I had to go find out what it was. So I also do mixed fit as well. So I'm going to let Starr take it from here. You guys give her a warm welcome. She is coming from the state of Illinois. I'm so grateful that she's on here and providing us with some detail. And I'm going to go ahead and give it to her. And Star Artiste, whenever you want me to go next, go to the next one, just say next slide and I'll move it for you, okay?
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I wanted to start off with saying Happy Nutrition Month. March is normally the nation's National Nutrition Month. And I'm always excited to talk a little bit about nutrition, whether it's general nutrition or maybe something specific. But I did want to like go along with the disclaimer she gave earlier. So I am in Illinois. So if you have a provider, make sure you talk with them about any changes that you like to make, just to make sure that they know what's going on with you and your plan. And we can go to the next slide. So one of the first parts of, healthy eating in general is increasing those fruits and vegetables. And so make your plate. We normally suggest to make half of your plate fruits and vegetables. So what you see right here is called My Plate, and My Plate is really a general nutrition guideline for each meal that you have. And so normally we say make half your plate fruits and vegetables, the other side grains, and try to make half of your grains whole grains, and then protein, trying to do lean proteins. And so we'll talk a little bit about that a little later, and then including dairy and low calorie drinks like water. And with fruits and vegetables, I know sometimes it can be hard to decide what you want to have, especially with the difference in seasons. And so a great thing that they have done is you can do it fresh, you can have frozen, canned, or dried. So there's so many different ways now that we can get those vitamins and nutrients that we need. And maybe you like mangoes, you can get mangoes year round because it could be frozen. So it's just a great thing that they have made for us. One thing with the canned, if they're vegetables trying to do low sodium or trying to get no sodium in the canned products, if they are fruit, trying to do fruit in its own juices and not, heavy syrups and things like that. Oh, also looking for added sugar in those things as well. And we can go to the next slide. So it's important to try to eat colors of the rainbow. You have your red, orange, yellow, green, purple, blue, red, all of that, all the fruits and vegetables that we have available are important for vitamins and minerals that we need for our body. We need those nutrients, and so we try to get those most of the days of the week. So if you have red and blue, that's more for antioxidants. So we say trying to get more of those berries, like strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, because those are high in antioxidants. With the orange fruits and vegetables, we normally say, vitamin C, but also carotenoids, the orange pigment helps with, um, immunity, like vitamin C, and sickness. And so really just trying to get a good variety of different colors throughout our diet can help as well. And we'll just go to the next slide. So I know before we talked about protein, so trying to get about 5 to 6 ounces of protein per day, and this may or may not be enough for you. This is just a general, requirement, a general guideline. Some people do more, some people do less, but this is just general. So 1 ounce for this one means 1 ounce of chicken, fish, turkey, or any other meat product, lean meat product. It can also include an egg, fourth cup of beans, a tablespoon of nut butter, peanut butter, almond butter, and then half an ounce of nuts and seeds, probably about a handful of those. We always suggest choosing fatty fish 2 to 3 times a week. So whether that is tuna, salmon, sardines, mackerel, herring, those are just a few that, we would need in our diet. Talk about this later, but also they're a great source of omega-3 fatty acids, and that helps us with brain and cognition function as well as, keep our muscles going. So just thinking about those things as well. And if you like dairy products, trying to get low fat or fat-free dairy products because it's the same amount of protein for the same amount that you would drink, and you don't have all the extra fat in that product. I know some people like full fat, but this is just a recommendation. We'll go to the next slide. So the omega-3 rich foods include what we talked about before, salmon, mackerel, but also nuts and seeds. So walnuts, almonds, pistachios, all those are great sources of omega-3 fatty acids, as well as flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, and if you take fish oil, that's a great as well. So all those are important. It helps with our brain as well as it helps to bring inflammation down. And so I know some people may or may not use oil, so oils also, especially olive oil, but there's also other oils like safflower oil, sunflower, avocado, flaxseed oil. Those are some oils that people like to use now, especially because they might have a higher smoke point, and that it won't burn our food as easily. So I'll go to the next slide. Whole grains are important. I know I mentioned before on the My Plate, um, part of the plate should be whole grains, and it doesn't have to be all those on the My Plate all the time, but just some that you could think about. Whole grain products like brown rice, quinoa, millet, wheat berries, popcorn, oatmeal, barley, bran, all those are whole grains, and I'm pretty sure there's some I haven't mentioned, but just thinking about that helps with our, satiety, helps with keeping us full a little bit longer. And you don't have to do all of these things, but this is just an example of what whole grains are. And some people like to use those more than the refined grains, like the regular, white rice, white bread. I also didn't put 100% whole wheat bread on here, but that is also another option. And you can know that it's a whole grain because at first, whether it's by itself if it's like bread, it'll say whole wheat at the front of the nutrition facts label under the ingredients. Those are just, a couple ways to find whole grains. And we'll go to the next slide. And please, if you have any questions or anything, you can unmute or you could put it in the chat box. So, we'll keep on. We'll just back to that last slide real quick. That one was talking about spices, and the spices are important because it makes our food taste a little better than just by itself. You have your garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, all the things that make food taste good. So making sure to include those while you're cooking as well as vinegar. Some people like vinegar just to make food a little tender and give it a different flavor, as well as citrus, lime, and orange. So a couple of spices we'll talk about a little bit later, but helps also with um, with our immune system is turmeric, ginger, and garlic. Those are just some other spices that'll help. Um, Notice many brand name. We have a question. They said, Miss Carmen said, I have noticed many brand name whole wheat breads have added sugars. It's hard to find bread without added sugars. Do you suggest a specific brand? I personally don't suggest a certain brand. I know it can be hard because, like you said, a lot of things have added sugar, and I think it's just, find one that works for you. If maybe it has a little bit of added sugars, that might be okay. But if it, interacts with you, then definitely try to find another one. Do you have any additions to that, Miss Sequetta?
Definitely. So, to add to that, far as the nutrition, because there are so many different brands of breads and different things, it is kind of a pick and choose. And I would get my recommendation basically based upon what your body can tolerate. So, if you know that you can't do a lot of refined sugars or you can't do a lot of grain, just depending on how your stomach tolerates it. So, it's more or less. Because you'll see, that's a misconception. Oh, I should use Ezekiel bread, which is really great, Ezekiel bread, but it may not agree with everybody. So it's kind of like you have to pick and choose and read the ingredients really closely because sometimes things will say it's doesn't have sugar, it does have sugar, but then when you start reading those labels, which is one of the services that I actually offer, it's totally different than what's on the front part branded. So I would say that if you're struggling to choose between a couple different products, look at them and kind of narrow them down by the ingredients, and then do it based upon your blood type, the underlying issues that you have, and then talk through it with your dietitian or your doctor just to make sure that it's not going to cause you any issues. And depending on what your overall goal is, you may need to stay away from bread altogether, depending on where you're trying to go.
Thank
And
you.
back to you, Star.
Thank you so much. So hopefully we answered your question, but if not, feel free to, add on different questions. We'll go to the next slide. So, nutrition is one part of, our wellness journey, our like how our bodies function, how our minds, work. So really, we look at it like a full picture, not just what we eat, not just what we drink, but also, how are we sleeping? Are we getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep? And some people might need longer than that. I know some people get like an average of 6 hours per night, but that, is one part of um our normal function and wellness. So just trying to think about that. If you normally get 6 hours, what can you do to try to get to that 8 hours? Maybe it's, not scrolling on your phone at nighttime, at 12 a.m. Or maybe, you want to start reading a book or something like that to help transition to the sleep. So that is just something that you could think about. And I know it's easier said than done, but just try to think about that. Someone in the chat said nature's own bread, life 100% whole wheat, has a decent taste. So, okay, great. Love the uh, recommendation. We'll go to the next slide. Another part, we talked about earlier, Zumba and mixed fit. I am a Zumba instructor and I love to exercise, love to dance, and exercise kind of plays a big role in my life. And so we actually, a lot of studies actually found that exercise helps, help us keep weight down. It helps us, just feel better, helps with brain muscle and function. So trying to get at least 30 to 60 minutes of activity most days of the week. And it might not be, something that you're thinking maybe you feel like you need to go to the gym and use weights. That's not always the case. Like we said, we dance, you can walk, you can jog, you can get on a bike, there's yoga, there's so many different ways that you can get your exercise in. And it doesn't always have to be standing up. You can do chair exercises. You can, do yard work. You can do housework. There's so many different things you can stretch. So you don't always have to, um, go to a gym. Always have to use weights. There's so many different ways to get the activity in. So we'll just go to the next slide. Another part is increasing water. And water goals depends on the person, depends on the activity, but a general amount is about I think it's like 8 to 14 cups general. But trying to get that water, and I've been noticing a lot of people don't drink a lot of water. They don't get to this 8 goal type of general goal. And it's important because it helps flush out the toxicities that we might have in our body. It helps keep us hydrated. It might help with our skin. That water, we're mostly made up of water. So why not replenish that water and kind of keep us a little healthier? And there's many ways that you can make water taste a little better. There's water. There are things like Crystal Light, like the pourings that you put in the water. Like I say, Crystal Light, Weiler's, Mio. There's so many different, things that you can add to the water. You can add yourself to the water, whether it's like blueberries, you can make your own type of mix, like mint, cucumbers, oranges. There's so many different things you can put in water. I like to put frozen fruit in my water. That way it helps, kind of mirror ice, but also has a little flavor. Some people even put it in the refrigerator overnight and kind of let it sit with the flavors in there so you can taste it throughout the next day. So those are some ways you can increase water, and just to know that is super important. And I know once you start to drink a lot of water, you might be going to the bathroom more often, but that's normal. We'll go to the next slide. Another thing that impacts health and wellness is smoking and alcohol. For women, they normally say about one um, serving of alcohol, and then for men too. But in general, um, just trying to think about what you're eating, what you're drinking, and how that impacts with health in general. So I won't spend too much time on this, but I just want to add that in there. So one thing that also with maybe it's stress, maybe it's the way the world is now, it's prayer and meditation. I am a dietitian, so I run a nutrition group as well. And most of my patients either have high blood pressure or have diabetes. And we've noticed that once we meditate, once we pray, once, kind of release all the tension we have within our shoulders, our minds, get our minds off of what happened early in the day, We noticed that their blood pressure went down. We've noticed that their blood sugar numbers have went down. It's really important because this video is on YouTube. I mean, just 5 minutes can help all of that go down. So, whether you start with 5 minutes, YouTube has a lot of different meditations, whether it's 2 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute. I say, check it out and see. It's kind of like a guided meditation, or your prayer, or you can just do breathing exercises. All of that is important. It helps kind of keep our stress down. So we'll just go to the next slide. Are there any questions or anything so far? Okay, great. So some of these things I've been researching, they say that might help with inflammation. Fiber is a big one. Which also includes those fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, or beans, nuts and seeds. All of those contain fiber, and having a diet rich in fiber can help decrease this inflammation that might transfer to pain. We talked about omega-3 fatty acids. And I get the tuna, salmon, mackerel at least 2 times per week. And if you are vegan, vegetarian, those nuts and seeds really play a role, as well as the chia seeds, hemp seeds. You can make chia seed pudding. You could do sprinkle some walnuts on top of a yogurt parfait. If it's like, it doesn't have to be dairy, but magnesium. I've seen a lot of research that says magnesium helps and kind of helps with stress as well, helps you kind of go to sleep. Vitamin C, B12, tart cherry juice, and other spices like turmeric. I've heard that's a popular one. Um, so to activate the turmeric or the curcumin, you use black pepper. Some people like a golden milk latte. So you have your almond milk, then you put turmeric, black pepper, and whatever whatever sweetener you want. I think we did a little bit of maple syrup, just a little bit, and then kind of use that. Supposed to give us energy, but it tastes all right. Just a little spicy, but just, something to think about and try if you want to try it. And we'll go to the next slide. So these are some other healthy snacks, and you may or may not use these already, but if you have a healthy snack that you like, please feel free to share. We talk about apples or peanut butter, any nut butter, whether it's peanut butter, almond butter, sunflower butter. There's so many different ones that you can pick from. There's cheese and hummus, and crackers or guacamole. There's nuts and seeds like almonds, pistachios, sunflower seeds. You could do hard-boiled eggs or, scramble up some eggs. I know egg prices are a little high right now, so if you don't want to do that, that's all right. You have fruit and yogurt parfait. Some people like to put a granola on there as well. You can make your own granola so that you know what's in it. Vegetables and hummus, or vegetables and salad dressing. Chips and salsa, fruit and cottage cheese. Those are just some of the snacks that most people like, and just a little bit healthy. Not the. But yes. And we'll go to the next slide. Oh yes, that's kind of the end of this presentation. Are there any questions? What's my favorite snacks? Um, I like the yogurt. Do a lot of yogurt and bananas. And it's even better when I have granola at home. So that's like my favorite.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Darties, for that wonderful presentation. And it did have a lot of the common things that we are all familiar with. Um, as we talk about, you mentioned um, the vitamins. I'm a big vitamin person. I've had vitamin deficiencies and I'm getting B12 shots now. And I do a couple other things. When you think about vitamins in the aspect of that. Most of us on this call are over 30, 40 years old, I think. What do you think, like, far as a good vitamin to add with your nutrition? Is there a certain thing you should be looking for? Should it be like a complete, or should it just be like a certain magnesium? What are you looking for to add to the nutrition piece?
I think a general multivitamin is great, especially, you look on the back and it kind of hits most of those um, recommended daily values. I do feel like you could do a lot of one specific vitamin, so make sure that if you're taking more than one to just kind of gauge where each one is. Try not to go over because there are upper limits. And so I think a great multivitamin is okay. If you went to the doctor and you've labs done, so you kind of know where your levels are, making sure that you supplement there as well. Your provider might prescribe, medications. I know here in Illinois, our sun isn't here all the time. So, our vitamin D might be a little low, so they might prescribe vitamin D. And so when the sun comes out, most people try to get out to try to get the sun and the vitamin D from there. But yeah, I
It's
think
good
a
that you
general
said vitamin
multivitamin.
D. Excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's good that you said vitamin D because I know a lot of us, um, even though we may live in sunny areas, like I'm in Georgia, I'm originally from Alabama. Sun is not always something that we want to be a part of because it's hot, we're sweating, don't want to mess our hair up. So that is a good thing that you called out the vitamin D. So if you know that you guys don't get out very often, because I know that we're not, a lot of us are not born beach people. We don't definitely run towards the outside as much as we should. But if you get out there and get a little bit of the sunlight and then possibly add a vitamin D, that's very beneficial as well. So I'm glad that you caught out vitamin D because I don't get outside as much as I need to. I get out when I go riding. But before then, I was vitamin D deficiency because I don't get out in the sun and take walks or get out and do activities out in the sun. So thank you so much for calling that out. And guys, put
Yes,
questions
ma'am.
in the chat. If questions come up and you can see them or whatever, because I can't see the chat because I'm sharing, I'll just continue to ask questions. But if there is a question that comes up, Danielle, if you or Dr. V, one of you guys will come off and ask the question, just in case it's something that may be missed, because I can't actually see the chat. Um, so I do have another question here. What are some of the people's biggest misconceptions about food? And I'm going to say autoimmune disease, but I know that we don't want to, right, just really hone in on an actual particular disease. But what are some of the most common food misconceptions that we see? Because a lot of people go and they GTS, and I say GTS a lot, y'all. So that's Google that beep. But most people think that I could just go and Google. I don't need to have a dietitian or nutritionist or go to my doctor to get food or nutrition advice. So if you had to think about that, what's the most common misconception?
I love that you said that because that is true. I've seen a lot of people, we talked about the supplements, a lot of people, buy all these supplements and then not knowing that they're over or double dipping. So they have a whole lot of supplements that are reaching that upper limit. I think one of the misconceptions, you kind of said it earlier, is that once they Google it, that's going to work for me. I'm going to follow whatever this person did and it's going to help me in my situation. And that may or may not be true because everything is different for everybody. So what may work for one person, like you said earlier, might not work for me. It might not work for you. And so just trying to make sure that you pick and choose, you know what you find. Make sure that if you find something on Google, to make sure you talk to your provider because they might know a little bit more about maybe what might interact with any medications that you have because that is really important. So just making sure to take back what you find. to your provider so that they can kind of give you that knowledge from that point.
Mhm. Okay. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's one thing I try to do as well. I go um, and have my blood work done every so often just to make sure that whatever I'm adding to my body is definitely beneficial. So I would definitely recommend that before you guys go and doing different supplements and different things, you guys know what's in your level. You know what your doctor is recommending. Now, I say that, but also know that doctors treat symptoms, which what we want them to do, but sometimes they don't see the full picture because they're moving so fast. So it's always good to ask to do blood work, and you don't always have to wait on your doctor to get blood work because you may be wanting to do something. I spoke to a lady earlier who was speaking about isogenics, and I said I wanted to do some research on it and kind of understand the impact of it, as far as people who have autoimmune, people who are vegan, and different things. So before you go trying any type of supplement, please be sure that it's going to work for you because at the end of the day, you don't want to be out of money, and then you also don't want to be sick or make yourself sicker when you're trying to make yourself better. All right. Danielle, do we have any questions in the chat Danielle or Dr. V?
None at this time.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Another question for you. I don't know if this falls into your nutrition. Um, Probiotics and prebiotics. Is that anything that you touch on far as nutrition?
I think having a general, diet helps with that. I know you talk about yogurt, talk about pickles, just all those different things that are part of those two different groups. We do talk about it, but in general, once you have a good general diet, you should be able to hit whatever you need for a good nutrition.
Thank you for that. Okay. All right. And I do have another question here. Are there any small daily habits that can make a big difference in improving your nutrition and overall well-being?
I think that, yes, I think there's a lot of different things that could be associated with good nutrition overall. And we kind of talked about those earlier, but making sure that you drink your water when people don't, like we talked about earlier. Water is important. So I feel like if you're not drinking enough water, a good kind of healthier or small kind of tip is to just drink water each hour. Like if it's in the beginning of your day, making sure you have a few sips or maybe a cup per hour, just so that you know kind of where you are and kind of are on track for the rest of the day. Another kind of hack or a simple habit could be just walking around every 30 minutes to an hour. Maybe you go to work, so maybe talking to a coworker or maybe just walking up and down the hallway to help get some steps in. I've even saw some people do maybe 4 to 5 squats, every hour or so just to kind of get some movement in there as well. Now, some people don't like to exercise after work, so adding it into your day is a good way instead of just maybe not doing it sorry, not doing it at all or, at a different time.
Thank you so much for that. And one last question for you. So I know that you do nutrition and diets quite often daily because that's your daily job. As you think about, because you're mentioning exercise, as you think about exercise and nutrition, how strict are you all? I don't know if the word is strict. How, when you say calories, do you want them to be in a caloric deficit or are you wanting to do you speak to their nutrition versus their physical activity, far as when you're writing plans for people?
I think so. There's different ways you can do it. There's different equations that you use for calories, and when I meet with different patients, I do include that activity level to those calories just so they know, this is how much I can have when I'm exercising. Most times when you're exercising, the calories are a little bit higher than normal. If you're sedentary, you're not moving at all. And all of that does play a role in the amount of calories you have. And the deficit really helps because if you want to lose weight, you kind of have to have a deficit or increase activity that kind of helps with that deficit as well.
Can you explain exactly what is a caloric deficit, just so to be sure that we're all clear on the same page?
So I first meet with patients. I ask them kind of what they normally eat throughout the day. Some people have apps. There's MyFitnessPal, there's Lose It, there's Calorie King, different ways that you can know how many calories you're eating, or maybe you're doing a food recall, so you're telling me what you've been eating. Maybe you've had for breakfast 2 pieces of toast, 2 eggs, bacon, orange juice, just telling me what you normally have. And so sometimes I can kind of guesstimate how much calories per meal that you've eaten. And from that, we would try to look at what can we either take away or what can we add so that we can have the most, um, the most um, maybe weight loss or most activity to help with whatever goals you might have. So there's different equations. Like I talk about, you multiply certain things. It's like a subtract and add different, your gender, your age, how active you are. And so we use those, and then I kind of give you a general calorie goal. And so the deficit is decreasing the calories, so most people know 1 pound or half a pound to a pound is about 3,500 calories. And so if you subtract 500 calories per day, you can kind of get that half a pound to a pound of weight loss. And so that's just kind of what we talk about.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that pretty much wraps up. Oh, one other thing before we go to the next slide. Are there any resources, books, websites, or meal plans for anyone who may be wanting to learn more or just generalized information that you would recommend?
Yes. So I think you might recommend this too, but the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, that is eatright.org. That's the kind of credentialing organization that I'm a part of as a registered dietitian. And, if you have any questions, they have recipes, they have different articles that you can look at, and they are really helpful in that way. Another part, we didn't really talk about it, but we kind of did, is the Mediterranean diet, and that it really includes those nuts and seeds, the salmon and things like that. A website for that is Old Ways, and so just looking into that if you need other recipes for that. Um, I think those are pretty much some of the good resources I would recommend.
Thank you. Thank you. You've been great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, if there's no other questions, I'll move on to the next slide. Danielle, Dr. V, are we clear for any questions in the chat?
Yes, you're clear.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving to the next slide. 1 second here. All righty, so as we get ready to close out, just so you guys know, EllaQ Soul and Wellness, I am a holistic health coach, and the services that I provide here, I provide one-on-one coaching, which is personalized guidance to help you make sustainable lifestyle changes to managing your autoimmune conditions and chronic pain. Your sessions will include meal planning, stress management, and goal setting. I also am getting ready to open up the group coaching, which is probably just like kind of like we're in here now, where we'll talk through different things and building that actual safe community where we'll have strategies, challenges, and we'll also celebrate our wins together. I also assist with grocery shopping assistance. If you are here in the state of Georgia within a 25 to 30-mile radius, I will help you in the store location. We can also do this virtually, where we can talk through some things and help choose anti-inflammatory products, budget friendly, and to read and understand food labels. The special offer one that I'm offering today, if you book a coaching session, you will get a free grocery shopping guide. So if you decide to do that, you guys can visit my website. It is live. It is EllaQ Soul Wellness.com. I also have my Boss Lady Positivity line on there. Shirts are available. I have my wellness services as well as my coaching services, as well as there's some additional free resources. So feel free to visit my website, which again, it is EllaQ Soul Wellness.com. That will be in the chat so that is available to you guys. And those are things that I actually offer here. All right. And just to kind of add on to what Miss Starr had said here today, we want to focus on anti-inflammatory foods because I am driving towards the autoimmune and chronic pain. Fatty fish, leafy greens, she already kind of went over that. I'm in alignment with what she's doing. And again, that's what I do. I jump into alignment with your medical professionals to help you reach your goals and make sure that they're sustainable. You also want to reduce processed foods and added sugars. We all know that after we have that wonderful chocolate or that pie or that cake or whatever it may be, sometimes it causes a flare. Sodas, processed, packaged snacks, we want to replace it with homemade meals, fresh fruit, and whole grains. I'm going to reiterate the same thing that Miss Darty said. Stay hydrated. This is where I struggle at on drinking water. So I know if I struggle, other people struggle as well. But the things that I do for myself, I add fresh lemon, I add berries. I've got on this orange mint now that I absolutely love. Herbal teas, ginger, turmeric, awesome. And then you want to support your gut health. Be sure that you're including probiotic, fiber-rich foods, because those things are all important to balancing your autoimmune conditions. You want to balance your blood sugar levels, carbohydrates with the protein, almond butter, eat small, frequent meals so that you don't crash out. And most importantly, the thing that I cannot stress more, as I lead any type of physical activities, whether that's strength and building, whether that's dance, whether that's yoga, whether you're doing high intensity, which I would really recommend not doing high intensity, because if you have the part of autoimmune that's on your joints and muscles, you want to listen to your body. Keep a food journal to track what helps or worsens your symptoms. Consider elimination diet, but before you begin to start eliminating things, give your body time to know if this is really what the problem is. Build a sustainable pattern, plan. Make sure that you know what's going on. And these are some good nutrition tips to kind of back up everything that our dietitian said to us today. All right. So as we talk about upcoming events, I've got your Shape Your Mind, Body and Mind 2025. Join our services today. I have memberships. I have one-to-one. I have group sessions. Again, I say all these things because I'm a living testimony that I've proven that the things that I'm saying here are the things that will work. It may not work exactly like it's working for me, but it works. Being physically active, your nutrition, your mental space, your relationships at work, your relationships at home. I cater to all of your primary foods. So come today and join and shape your body and mind in 2025 with EllaQ Soul and Wellness. Jazzy Nights. I'm going to go ahead and kick that off. I know I spoke to that last month. I'm going to probably kick that off next month. That's going to be a session where we come in and listen to jazz music and just release all the toxins for the night and just have a wonderful night together. I still have my 7-day Move and Improve Strength and Mobility Kickstart. It's no heavy lifting, no weights involved. It's just basically you and your body strengthening. And last but not least, the offer that I have for you today is the EllaQ Soul and Wellness Autoimmune Friendly 7-day plan. This is not your normal GTS it. These are meals that are put together for autoimmune and anti-inflammatory, inspiration in mind and chronic pain. I've put together a 7-day plan. It has a grocery list. It has the steps on how to make the meals. And it's a repeatable plan. And today, if you get that, it's $15. And I'll provide that to you guys. You just will have to reach out to me to get this 7-day plan. And again, it's not your plans that you get from Google. It's not your plan that you're getting from Sally, John, or whoever it may be. These are plans that I have specifically put together to drive anti-inflammatory plans to reduce it and to help with the chronic pain and to help with the sugars and all the different things of that sort. All right. And this slide here is just some helpful resources just to kind of go along with the things that our dietitian shared with us today. So just take a moment here to look at this Autoimmune Wellness Academy of Nutrition and Dietitian, the Autoimmune Solution. Just a few to name, that there are many resources out there. But as you're Googling resources, please check the information behind it to make sure that these are viable resources and that it's just not a pop-up overnight type resource, and that what you're following is in alignment with what your doctor is asking you to do. So please consult your physician before using any of these actual resources unless they are accredited. All right. 1 second here. And I'm going to stop sharing at this time. 1 second. 1 minute. I'm going to stop sharing. All righty, awesome. So that pretty much concludes what we have to today. Like I told you, we're going to be very respectful of your time. I want to thank everybody who has joined. I'm now going to open the floor up if you guys want to come off mute and ask any questions to Miss Starr Artis. This is your opportunity. Again, take advantage of this moment because some people insurance you have to pay to speak to a dietitian. Some people's don't, but I know I have to pay to speak to a dietitian. So take advantage of this moment to speak with her and ask her any questions so that she can provide insight and give you some information that you can walk away with and use it instantly. So we'll just open the floor up to anybody who has a question at this time. You guys are quiet. And also, if you have anything for me or have any recommendations or just want to add to what we've went over today, this is also an opportunity for that as well.
I love what you talked about when you talked about processed foods and added sugars. I know that was a question earlier. And, added sugar is now on the food label. And that could be whether it's sugar, honey, agave. Those are just some of the other added sugars that most people may go to besides regular granulated sugar. But I have noticed a difference when people use a lot of sugar, and that might, impact whatever it is going on in their body, might make their body more inflamed. So just something to think about too. Um, with in, inflammation.
All right, looks like we do have a question from Miss Gwendolyn. Is oregano a good anti-inflammatory spice?
I think it could be. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know it doesn't have, any sugar or salt. So I think it could be a good spice overall.
Yeah, and that's the thing with anti-inflammatory because I do a lot of research on it. With anti-inflammatory, you want to stay away from the additives. So if it has high sodium or if it has lots of sugar, I can definitely tell you if I have a donut, 2 donuts today, probably by the end of the night, something's going to be aching. But I did it to myself because for that one moment of pleasure, which I'm not saying for an anti-inflammatory diet that we want to deprive, because I definitely don't believe in depriving myself of anything. I'm not even big on the word diet, even though I brought a dietitian in here, because I don't want anybody to feel restricted. Because at the end of the day, you want to enjoy the time that you have left in life. You don't want to be so restrictive of yourself that you cannot enjoy it, or you feel like, oh, here we go, I gotta do this. So anything that doesn't have any additional salt or any additional sugar in it is definitely a good anti-inflammatory. And most of the time those Italian spices, because if you look at Italians, which oregano is one of those, they are healthy, vibrant, and the only, well, not the only, one of their guilty pleasures is pastries. And they have those, because when I visited Italy, they have pastries late in the evening so that their body can continue to function because they start so early in the morning because they don't have dinner till like 7 o'clock in the evening. And that's when they enjoy their pastries, but their pastries don't have sugar in them. Any other questions? Anybody want to come off mute? All righty. All righty. So looks like we don't have any more questions. No one wants to come off mute. Let's see here. And it looks like we had people visiting from Smyrna, from St. Louis, Illinois. I know we had people from Mississippi in here. So thank you guys so much for being all over the place. I appreciate your support. I hope that you guys continue to share EllaQ Soul and Wellness because she's not laying down. She's here to stay. I've been on this journey for actually I have pictures of 10-year span, but I've always been on the journey of fitness for over 20 years. But due to my illnesses and different things, I jump in and jump out. But I have been consistent for the past year. So this is what I am here to do. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's not all about me selling you guys anything. At the end of the day, I want to bring a community where we can feel safe to talk about anti-inflammatory and help other women reach their sustainable goals. And that's the whole reason that I'm here. I want to empower, I want to inspire, and I want to show you that I'm able to do the things that they said I couldn't do. And you can do it as well. And Mr. Ortiz, do you have any final words before we close out here?
I think you talked about diet. I'm thinking of moderation. I know that kind of can get construed, but misconstrued, but most things in moderation. Like you say, you want to live a healthy life. Maybe you maybe mess up one day. That's okay. Just maybe get back on and continue on that road, continue on your journey because we're gonna have days that we might not want to, exercise or might not want to have the salad, but that's okay. Just get up, make your decision and continue to keep going. It's a journey. There's going to be ups and downs. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. All righty. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful night. And we will do this again in 30 days. We will have a different topic and subject. There will be a survey once you guys close out. It should pop up instantly for you guys to complete. Surveys is how I know that I'm doing something great. Surveys is how I know if I'm doing something horrible. And I'm telling you, feedback is a gift, whether it's good or it's bad. So please give it. Please provide it. Provide any insights. And again, tell a friend to tell a friend because it ain't no fun if your friends can't get in. And have a good night, guys. Bye.
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 Bye.